You always help first, and no one ever asks how you are. That's not kindness, that's fear. You learn to fix everything, not out of strength, but out of panic. Panic of being useless and pushed aside. You stay available because you think being needed protects you, but that's what keeps you trapped. Trapped in people who only show up when they want something. Here's the truth you avoid. You take care of others to avoid facing your own emptiness. You look functional on the outside, but inside you collapse. And the worst part, no one notices your fall because you trained the world to see you as strong, even when you were begging for rest, silently. But the question you never dared to face is this. What if what you call being the good one is just a pretty name for running from your own pain? And what if helping everyone is exactly what's destroying you? You weren't born trying to save everyone. You learned it, you practiced it, you were trained into it. You became strong out of necessity, not choice. Back then, someone failed you. Someone left you alone. Someone who should have cared, but didn't. So you took their role. Without noticing, Jung calls this the savior complex. When you try to heal in others what no one healed in you, you rush to put out fires before you notice your own burning. And you call this love, but it's fear. Fear of being ignored, fear of being forgotten, fear of being replaced. So you serve, you fix, you erase yourself. And every time you do that, something inside you breaks, because overgiving has a cost. And no one warns you about it. No one sees that price. No one sees the exhaustion. Only you feel it. You think being needed is protection, but it's exactly what exposes you. It exposes you to one-sided relationships, to emotional abuse, and you still call it love. You believe that if you stop serving, you'll be abandoned. If you stop fixing everything, you'll lose your place. And that belief traps you. It controls you. It sabotages you every day. And here's the cruel part. People get used to your giving. They expect it. They demand it. They rely on it. And they use you without guilt. But none of this means you're weak. It means you're tired. It means you've crossed your limits for years. It means you confused care with survival. And no one taught you the difference until now. And here's the shift that changes everything. You aren't broken. You're conditioned. Conditioned to think you only deserve love when you're useful. Conditioned to believe your presence only has value when you're serving. But that was never true. You think you're helping, but you're actually trying to control the fear, control the abandonment, control the other person's silence, control the pain before it starts. That's not love. You call it caring, but it's emotional surveillance. You monitor everything, every expression, every text, every distance. You call it altruism, but it's escape. Escape from your own inner chaos. Escape from what you don't want to feel. Escape from looking at yourself. Because that hurts more. You believe that if you're indispensable, no one leaves. You believe presence guarantees loyalty. You believe effort buys permanence. But that's a lie you've repeated for years to survive. Here's the brutal truth. You save people so you won't feel abandoned again. You rush, you give, you drain yourself, and then you go back again. You offer too much. You give before anyone asks. You say it's fine when nothing is fine, and no one notices, no one suspects, no one asks. And the worst part, you romanticize it. You think it's beautiful to be the strong one, the one who stays, the one who fixes everything, the one who carries everyone else's chaos. That's the illusion. You don't love this way. You defend yourself this way. Your giving became a shield. Your kindness became armor, and you didn't even notice. Meanwhile, you attract the same kind of people. People who take, people who drain, people who disappear when you need them. Empty people. And you still call it fate. But now comes the truth you've always avoided. Maybe you're not being good. Maybe you're being used. And the question that hangs in the air, the question that cuts deep is, who would you be without this illusion? If this truth is stirring something in you, click the button and subscribe now. Here, you don't have to carry everything alone. Every video is a mirror and a way out. You'll understand your pain with clarity and purpose, and finally see you were never meant to hold the world on your shoulders. You spent years believing that if you let go, everything would fall apart, that if you didn't take care of it, no one would, that if you didn't hold things together, everything would break. And it made you tired, so tired you didn't see how much of yourself you lost, trying to hold the whole world. But God never asked for that. He never asked you to be everyone's backbone. He never asked you to carry pain that wasn't yours. He never told you to become a human shield. That came from life, not from Him. And here is the turning point. While you try to control everything, God is trying to teach you to trust. That's why you feel alone. Not abandonment, but boundary. Your boundary. The word says, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you." That means strength doesn't come from effort. It comes from surrender, from rest, from stillness, from what you release. But you learned the opposite. You learned that trusting is dangerous. Letting go is failure. Depending is weakness. But that's not faith, that's trauma. Faith is not carrying everything. Faith is allowing yourself to be held. Faith is accepting you don't have to be strong all the time. Faith is falling into God's arms when you need to, not your own. And that changes everything. When you try to save everyone, you step into a place that was never yours. You become the foundation, the center, the solution. But you weren't created for that. You were created to be cared for too, and that's what hurts the most. You got used to giving, but never receiving, calming others, but never being calmed, listening, but never being heard. And God looks at that with compassion, with tenderness. He's not punishing you. He's freeing you, removing weights that were never yours, breaking patterns that exhaust you, dismantling the control that cages you, so you can finally breathe. Because in the end, the revelation is simple. You were never alone. You were just carrying what was never yours. And when you let go, when you truly surrender, you will feel the support that was always there. If this touched you, subscribe to the channel and comment. I don't have to carry everything. Let this be the beginning of your freedom. The first action is simple, but it will scare you. Because it touches your deepest fear, the fear of disappointing someone, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of losing people. The action is, say no once a day. This isn't rebellion, it's identity. You need to relearn who you are without constantly serving, without anticipating needs, without sacrificing yourself automatically. That no is your first boundary, and boundaries heal. Boundaries are self-love. Boundaries are emotional protection. Boundaries are internal respect. Boundaries bring order to your soul. And you never learned that. Saying no will shake your voice. It will trigger guilt. It will trigger fear. It will feel wrong because your body was trained to comply, and now you're reprogramming everything. Do this. Pause for 3 seconds before answering any request. Breathe. Feel your body. Ask yourself, do I actually want this? If the answer is no, say it without over-explaining. Here's the secret. The people who truly love you will understand. Those who don't were never really there. They were there for what you gave, not for who you are. This step will filter your relationships. It will separate real connection from convenience. It will show you who stays when you finally stop sacrificing yourself. And it hurts, but it frees you. When you say no, something shifts inside you. Strength rises, dignity returns, clarity appears, and your soul finally breathes. For the first time in a long time, this is the beginning. 1 no a day. Small, simple, direct, but powerful enough to change everything. Because deep down, you're not learning to reject people. You're learning to choose yourself. And to God, that was always part of healing, always part of the process, always part of love. Now, if you got distracted, come back here with me, because what comes next is the part that really changes your life. Pay attention to this. This is where the real healing begins. The second action goes deeper, and it might be the hardest one, because it touches the emptiness you've always avoided, The action is, sit alone with your feelings for 10 minutes a day. No fixing anyone, no saving anyone. You've spent your whole life running from yourself, putting out everyone else's emotional fires so you wouldn't look at your own. But this daily silence is necessary. It's where truth appears and where your pain finally gets a name. During these 10 minutes, you don't need to be strong. You don't need to impress. You don't need to smile. You just need to exist, breathe, and feel. And feeling is scary because you fear what might come up. Stored guilt, old hidden fears, exhaustion, buried emptiness. But that's exactly what heals you. The courage to sit with yourself. No roles, no masks, no obligations. Just you, the real you. Do this. Sit in silence. Place your hand on your chest. Ask, what am I avoiding feeling today? Let the answer rise, without judgment. You'll notice something surprising. The emotion you avoided for years, just wanted attention, just wanted space, just wanted to be seen by you. These 10 minutes will clear your mind, calm your heart, reveal patterns, unlock memories, show your real needs, and shift your path. Because when you feel, you understand. When you understand, you choose. When you choose, you change. And when you change, God moves. He always moves when you stop running and start listening to yourself. In the end, this simple action teaches something deep. You don't need to lose yourself in others to feel alive. You don't need to silence your pain to be loved. You don't need to run from who you are. Healing begins when you return to yourself and allow yourself to feel. You began this journey exhausted, tired of holding the world, tired of holding people, tired of holding yourself together. But now you see the weight, and a recognized weight stops being destiny. You've learned you don't need to be indispensable to be loved. You don't need to be available all the time. You don't need to fake strength. You don't need to save anyone except yourself, and that is sacred. That version of you shaking by the sink, the one smiling to hide the fear, the one carrying everything alone. She still exists, but she knows there's a new path, and it begins with you. You now understand that the control that consumed you was just trauma trying to protect you, just the inner savior child trying to prevent more pain, just fear dressed as responsibility. But fear has lost its power because you saw the truth. And the truth is simple. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to earn love. You don't need to pay with effort. Your worth is not in your usefulness. It's in your existence. When you said no, something opened. When you felt, something healed. When you paused, something returned to place. And when you let go, God held you, exactly as He promised. Those who stayed, stayed because they see you. Those who left, left because they drained you. This filter wasn't rejection, it was protection, it was purpose, it was God aligning what belongs to you. Now you breathe differently, with less hurry, with less guilt, with less fear, with more awareness and more faith. You no longer need to be everyone's safe harbor. You need to be a home for yourself, a presence for your soul, a rest for your heart. That is emotional maturity. That is faith put into practice. And then everything connects. The child who tried to save the world, the woman who lost herself in others, and you now whole because you learned to choose yourself, because God always carried you. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to our channel. Here, every story reveals why you hurt and what God is teaching you through it. Psychology to understand yourself, spirituality to understand the meaning behind it. For you who made it to the end, comment, I choose myself. May this declaration unfold in your life and lead you into a new season.